will this one work now? That we were just on for like an hour and a half, and then I got a thing saying that my connection's unstable. So now I've started a second one. So hopefully be where people can see and hear me. And so far, I don't see anybody back on here yet. So I don't want to really get going until I give the opportunity to some people to find this video. What was that noise? That was a weird noise. Sorry. Nan's back. Um, so for those who end up watching this first before the other one, this is a part 2 that we're reading the documents in the lawsuit that Colborn has against Netflix. And we're almost done with it actually. We're on page 40 of 49. So go back and watch the other one. Christopher's here, yay. um, and I really need to look into that when it's saying my connection's unstable. If there's something I need to do that so I have better service here, or is that just in general? I don't know. I'm not a tech person. So where we had left off is it was talking about the login sheets and that making excuses for Lank that he um had only signed out on some and he wasn't signed in, and they were saying because the log hadn't been made yet when he got there, that's why he wasn't logged in. So then that sup cat, so that reminded me of the Avery property, because it's something that I have always found interesting. In not the Lang Colborn not signing in out, but that when you see on here the yellow highlight on this list, you see what it says? Ryan Hilgas, Scott Blodorn. Ryan Hilgas, Scott Blodorn. That was for November 7th. I should turn this upside down because now we're on November 8th. Let me try and turn it so you can see it. Scott Blodorn, Ryan Hilgas. So November 7th they were there. November 8th they were there. Oh, this is 7th as well. So these green ones, those are different Hallbach family members. All going on to the salvage yard property. So this was Brian, Laura, and Dennis Hallbach, Gary Hallbach, and Debbie Hallbach. Here's all the Hallbachs again. So Brian, Laura Hallbach, Dennis Hallbach, and a Nancy Hallbach. It's on the 7th. And here they are again on the 7th. Those Hallbachs. So you've got the Hallbachs and Ryan Hilgas and Scott Blodorn. And then maybe I have it somewhere else. There's also a spot on one of the sign-in sheets where Michael Hallbach is going in and out, but using a fake name. So I've always been confused on why the Hallbach family gets to go in and out of an active crime scene, and you won't even let Dolores Avery go get her medication. Why are the Hallbachs going in and out on November 7th and 8th? All right, sorry. I keep getting distracted by things. Okay, 3, myth. Quote, prior to Avery's arrest, all 3 sheriff's detectives conducted repeated searches of Avery's trailer and detached garage, even though Special Prosecutor Ken Kratz had announced to the media that Manitowoc County could not be involved, unquote. Fact, Manitowoc was never excluded from this investigation. It was decided that Calumet County would lead the investigation. They were the ones initially investigating it as a missing person case because Teresa, oh my God. It's so now it's got in parentheses these two words, all capitals, the victim, by the way. Fuck off. Sorry. Um, was from their county. Because that's trying to say that nobody cares about Teresa Hallbach. Shut up. That's so not true. However, upon finding the RAV4 in Manitowoc County, it was discussed and decided to have Calumet lead it and Manitowoc provide resources, which includes manpower and equipment. Poggle even stated in a local newspaper after Brendan's full confession, no, it shouldn't say Brendan's full confession. It should say Brendan's forced confession on 3106 that resources included manpower. MAM omits again. You're right, Nana. Everybody make sure you thumbs up on this one too. 11/5/2005, 11:45 a.m. Weird is advised by Sheriff Poggle that the scene, salvage yard, would be turned over to their department under the Mutual Aid Pact for Manitowoc County. 11/5/2005, 1:04 p.m. Wiegert meets with District Attorney ADA Michael Griesbach and Calumet County DA Kenneth Kratz. Sweat. It is decided that they need to apply for a search warrant for the property, salvage yard. Bullet points now. Teresa is from Calumet County, so decision is made to let Queso continue to lead the investigation. Even though victim's vehicle is located on a property in Manitowoc County, decision to have Queso continue to lead the investigation due to maybe a conflict of interest. Deputy Inspector Greg Shetter. In no way, in all capitals, is this done because anyone suspects or worries that law enforcement officers are trying to frame Avery or potentially plant evidence. It is a proactive approach and why there is always a California County law enforcement with Manitowoc law enforcement. Now, I'm not saying that they had to be babysat because people weren't sure that they were going to plant anything, because I don't think anybody would have cared if they had planted anything. They're all covering for each other. I thought it was done because trying to protect them because of the depositions that had started. So they were trying to make sure they're going above and beyond so they couldn't be blamed for doing anything. Not that people suspected they would. That's what I thought it was. 4. Myth. Then, on November 3, 2005, the family of Hallbach reported her missing to Calumet County Sheriff's officials, quote, and nobody has called for Lieutenant Link, unquote. String argued during Avery's 2007 murder trial, quote, and nobody's called looking for him, but the chief detective of Manitowoc County takes it upon himself that night to call Calumet and offer to get involved in the missing person investigation, where one of the appointments that was to be kept was Stephen Avery, unquote. Hey, sexy girlfriend. Fact. 11/3/05, after speaking with Stephen that evening, Sergeant Colborn contacts Greg Shetter, the deputy inspector of the operations division, and lets him know that Queso is investigating a missing person case and that one of the places that Queso mentioned that the party Teresa was at was the Avery salvage yard. He informs Shetter that he had just left there and was unable to locate the missing person. And the bullet points, Shetter suggests that Sergeant Colborn contact Lieutenant Link to see if he wants any of Manitowoc County law LEs to assist Queso in searching. Note, Lieutenant Link didn't ingratiate himself into this as MAM implied. He was contacted per Shetter's recommendation after they had checked out the Avery salvage yard. Sergeant Colborn contacts Lieutenant Link by phone per above suggestion. 11/3/05, after speaking to Sergeant Colborn, Lieutenant Link contacts Wiegert by phone to get additional information per call from Sergeant Colborn. Wiegert updates Lieutenant Lenk on the situation. Lieutenant Lenk informs Wiegert that he would call some people in and assist Queso with the investigation. They decide to meet that evening at MTSD and discuss. 5. Myth. Quote, and the next morning, Lieutenant Link does one better than that. He goes out himself to Stephen Avery's trailer and with another officer from Manitowoc, unquote. Strang continued, quote, and he knocks on the door again, just as Sergeant Colborn had done the night before, inquiring after Teresa Hallbach. Again, Stephen Avery is cooperative, unquote. Fact. Wiegert from Calumet County contacted Remaker the next morning to go to Avery's. 11/4/2005, 10:20 to 10:35 a.m., and we are on page 41 of 49. Uyghur contacts Detective Remaker and requests that MTSD try to make contact with Stephen Avery since it was too late the night before. He requests they try to obtain more info and possibly get consent to search his residence. Detective Remaker and Lieutenant Link went there, but neither had ever been there and did not know where they were going. They did eventually find his trailer and knocked, but no answer. They then went next door and found out later that was Barb Yanda's residence, but no one was there either. They began to leave and were driving down the driveway, and Stephen was in the passenger of a golf cart being driven by his mother, Dolores Avery. So they stopped and identified themselves. They requested consent from Stephen to search his trailer, and he agreed. So they turned around and went back to his trailer. Ramaker requested that Stephen come inside with them, and Lieutenant Lang stayed in the living room with Stephen while Ramaker went and looked around the residence, starting in the back bedroom, and was looking for Teresa, a body, a human being, etc. They were in the residence 5 minutes approximately. That's a good search. Lieutenant Lank never just went there on his own, as the defense tries to spin it. So again, I ask you, John, if you're not willing to print a rebuttal, at the very least going forward, maybe try to get a fair evaluation of what occurred from both sides. Sometimes going against the grain and taking the unpopular stance is the right thing to do for those innocent people you are so easily throwing under the bus. You know, the ones that protect us. Exhibit 7. Email, no subject, from Michael Griesbach, 12/23/2015, 5:24 a.m. to Laura Riccardi and Moira Demos, the documentarians. Congratulations! I binged my way through all 10 episodes by Saturday afternoon and enjoyed it immensely. I'd be happy to share with you some of the local reaction beyond what has been reported if you are interested. I imagine you're swamped with media inquiries and other matters, but if you could email me your number and times you are available, I'll give you a call. I'm in the office till about 10:30 Central Time today, but then on the road to UW-Madison to pick up our daughter for the Christmas break. By the way, I share most of the views you expressed below in your recent interview with the Post-Crescent. In the end, the CJs must be about process, not results. All best, Mike. And then it's, quote, every question just led to more questions, unquote, said Moira Demos, who produced the series titled Making a Murderer with Laura Riccardi. Quote, in the end, we are not trying to provide any answers. We don't have a conclusion. We are really raising questions, and our goal is to promote a dialogue about these things, unquote. The series became available on Netflix on Friday, but the first episode is available on YouTube. The filmmakers who were interviewed Tuesday by Post Crescent Media don't presume to know what happened. Quote, this is such a complex case. And, I think our takeaway through all of this, that one needs to be careful not to be too certain about any of this, unquote, Riccardi said. Quote, it's an imperfect system. It's a human system, and there's lots of room for ambiguity, and there are lots of questions here. Among the questions, was the truth revealed in these cases, and is the system working as it should? Michael Griesbach, and then he's got for his signature line, author of award-winning true crime The Innocent Killer, a true story of a wrongful conviction and its astonishing aftermath. And then a link to the website and where you could buy it on Amazon. Oh, he's so sweet. Exhibit 8. Videotape deposition of Michael Griesbach, recorded 9/22/2005 in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. 11:43 a.m. to 1:06 p.m. 84 minutes elapsed. And then this next page is videotape deposition of Michael Griesbach, 9/22/2005. Um, Witness Michael Griesbach, blah, 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 blah. John Mayer's there. John Mayer is there on behalf of Tom Kosarik. James McCambridge is there on behalf of Michael Griesbach. Stephen Avery is there. Walter Kelly is there on behalf of the plaintiff. Examination by Mr. Kelly. Question, Mr. Griesbach, would you please tell me your date of birth and your age, please? Answer, sure, February 13th, 1961. I'm 44 years old. Question, okay, and you're currently an assistant district attorney at the Manitowoc County DA's office? Answer, that is correct. Question, okay, how long have you been in Manitowoc County DA's office? Answer, I believe it would be 14 years, 1991 to now, so 14 years. Question, okay, and I understand we had some testimony by Mark Rohrer just a little while ago that there was a brief period of time during which you were the district attorney of Manitowoc County? Answer, it's kind of a complicated matter. I have been elected as the district attorney in 2002 after running for election. I chose, for basically personal reasons, Jill Martin's former secretary in the district attorney's office during Mr. Vogel's administration was probably mentioned her name. I don't know if this is okay. So these are just at different times in the thing. Okay. So question. All right. Anybody else was meant, or wait, they've got things that are highlighted. So I guess that's what I should read. It's just a highlighted thing instead of trying to read all of this. Question. Do you have any recollection of attending a meeting with Sheriff Peterson in his office in which the matter of the Avery prosecution and Gregory Allen was discussed? Answer. Yes, I do. Question. Can you tell me your best recollection of who was at the meeting? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so the next highlighted section is question. All right, do you have any recollection about whether Sheriff Peterson produced any files and records concerning Stephen Avery and or Gregory Allen at that meeting? Answer. He may have had the Allen information regarding the record checks, and we had requested of the dispatch earlier, perhaps the photo array in the assault case in 1985. Answer. Oh, wait, question, I mean. What was the subject matter of the meeting? Answer. I think the subject matter was basically a recognition that, that Mr. Avery was very likely the assailant here, that Mr. Avery was not, that there will be press inquiries regarding that it is what it is, that we are confident, the DA's office, that Mr. Avery should be released from prison as soon as possible. There may have been, some discussion about the photo array that we would like to see it, that Mr. Rohrer and I would like to see it, and that Sheriff Peterson thought he should look at too, just to see how it was conducted. And I believe part of the focus was on Mr. Allen, in how similar or not similar in the description by the victim and Mr. Avery was Mr. Allen, and whether he was in the photo array or not. Question. What did you find out about that? Answer. Mr. Allen was not in the photo array. His physical appearance and height and weight and such were pretty consistent with the victim's description of the assailant at the time. Then the next thing that is highlighted is him saying, my best recollection is that there was not a booking photo of Mr. Allen. I could be mistaken, but that's my best recollection. Next highlighted section says, question. Do you have any recollection throughout the course of these events since you found out about them on September 3rd as to whether or not There was at one time a booking photograph of Gregory Allen and was made in connection with the 1983 offense that subsequently was either lost or destroyed or for some reason disposed of. Answer. Oh my God. I have no information about that. Question. All right. Do you recall whether at the meeting with Sheriff Peterson there was any discussion about the matter of Gregory Allen as being identified in 1995 as having been Penny Bernstein's assistant? And then there was discussion with Sheriff Kosoric about that? Answer. If you could I think I lost you. Probably my losing more than you're saying, but I lost it. Question. After the meeting that took place in Sheriff Peterson's office with the people that you've described to us, was there any discussion about the fact that it had come to light in 1995 from some source or sources that it was actually Gregory Allen who had attacked Mrs. Bernstein and not Stephen Avery? Um, all right. So then the next thing that's highlighted is just Exhibit 124. And the next thing highlighted says it's dated September 18th of '03. Doug Jones was an attorney in the DA's office at that time, right? Answer, still is, yes. And then question, and was information that's in 24 made available to you at the time this memo was prepared? Answer, yeah, I think by the time the memo was prepared, I was aware of the contents of that memo. Next thing, question. Okay, so was there any further discussion to your knowledge of the information that's stated in here about Mr. Allen by you or Mr. Rohr with either Colborn or Length? Answer. There very well may have been. It was likely from Mr. Rohr. Um, Next thing highlighted is my recollection is just that it was confirmed that indeed that Sheriff Kosoric had said upon hearing that somebody else did this, that we've got the right guy and that he should not concern himself. Next thing highlighted question. Okay, when you say, quote, what people were saying was the case, unquote, can you identify the people that you're talking about? Answer. I believe it would be Officer Cole. Um, Next thing, all information we had was provided to the Attorney General. All right, and that's everything. So at the end of all this, Griesbach needs to turn over everything he's got. He just, really is screwing himself with this stupid Colborn stupid lawsuit and representing Colborn. Oh, ridiculous. So that's it. That's on that. When we find out anything more on it, we'll go live with it. I thank again Millbilly for providing me with the documents so I could read it to y'all. I'll have to see what drama is going on that I was sent screenshots for. So maybe that's what next week's live will do. And now I just got a phone call and a message saying I'm supposed to be on a Zoom meeting in 10 minutes. So I have to call this to an end so I can get on this meeting that I had been told was canceled. And I guess it's still happening. Yeah, more drama, Cat. More of the same old drama, though. It's the stuff where they're like accusing me of stealing money that we've heard a million times over the years. But I'll have to go and see all the screenshots and maybe we'll discuss that next week. So thank you everybody for joining me on this part 2 since part 1 kept buffering. And so I had to start into a second one. So make sure you start with the first one for the Colborn versus Netflix and then come here till part 2. And we'll be live next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time. Thank you, everybody. Investigation continues.